each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Ah, man, I'm just determined to wear myself out today, huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, I still got more sharing to do. Hold on. Hold your trudges there. Hold your trudges. Hold your trudges. I'm only putting it in I'm keeping it in what I call the trudging together family. That would include Dragon Flower Recovery and Raw Recovery Overeaters Anonymous. 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 All right, there we are. What, nobody? Nobody? Well, gee, there's your sixth love language. Show it up. Oh, wait a minute. It would open my to the okay, the chat's on. We'll give it a minute. We'll give it a minute. Yes, we will. In fact, while that's going on, maybe what I could do is yeah, I'll make it look a little bit more professional. Oh, right. So, well, I don't even know why I'm putting this on here. I'm not sure that anybody's really going to show up, but that's okay. It's all right. Somebody will be here sooner or later. Oh man, I don't know how to spell. Oh yeah, we got more people coming in. Hi. I'm just I'm doing some stuff real quick before we get started here. But why should we know the love languages? Because when we meet others where they are at, this becomes extremely useful. Not only that, but it can help you with things like boundaries. Yeah, lots of stuff. So, not physicals. There we go. There we go. All right. And I would recommend. I've actually never really read the whole book, just so you know. I don't need to. It's a self-help book. All right. So, what are self-help books good for? Well, once we have completed the steps, yeah. See, the secret to a self-help book is you need to know how to help yourself first. That's the secret. But in this one, we're not really using it as a self-help. We're doing it to help us realize that people have different needs. And when we do that and we approach people where they are at, you'll find that you're going to get more of a response. This has to do with, sometimes this has to do with empathy, things like that, you know. But I brought it up yesterday in a meeting or something. I think some people were interested in it. So hopefully we've got, all right, let's just go ahead and get going. I didn't notice we were at 5 minutes already. So welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Describe the 5 love languages. All right. It helps me stay on, a little bit of reading helps guide me. All right. So the five love language are ways people express and receive love in a relationship. Okay. This doesn't have to just, this could be anybody that you work with. And you don't really need to ask what they prefer. But let's go ahead and get started. They mix this all up. The first ones that they have here. Wait a minute. I think I did something wrong. Give me a second. Where'd I put the book? Where'd I put the book? I think I did this something wrong here. Yep. But that's not the way it goes. There's a reason that they're in order. And they don't have them in order in here. But they do have them in order. I just didn't do it right. All right. There we go. So the first one is words of affirmation. Okay. And please feel free to chat or whatever. I have a feeling that people are enjoying putting on and listen, and that's fine too. So the first one is words of affirmation. People who value words of affirmation thrive on praise, encouragement, and compliments. They can be bothered by criticism and harsh words. I think every alcoholic is kind of has the words of affirmation in it, and because we tend to take things a little personally. Now, for us, and this is one thing I bring up quite often. In fact, I just did the 12th tradition and brought up this. Words of affirmation is encouragement. Okay, hey, I see this and whenever I have a chance to do it, especially, I was on the phone talking with somebody earlier and they were helping me because I was way too excited. By the way, it's 2:22, Amber, because I know you're the one here. And I was talking to them and I told them, I was like, I noticed that you've gotten some really strong boundaries lately. And I'm proud of you for that. That is not easy to do. When new people are in there, when we have newcomers. I mean, isn't it nice to hear, when you're doing a good job to hear about it? Sure it does. And there's different ways that you can do words of affirmation, but it's always encouragement, right? But here it says they can be bothered by criticism and harsh words. You ever like dressed up nice? Everybody's like, "Oh, you look good now." And there's one person that's like, "Oh, you got a little spot right there." All right. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you. So, words of affirmation is our first one. If somebody, let's just encourage those new people. Let's just encourage. It doesn't need to be a new person. We all have shit days. We all have really shitty days. Let me give you an example. Let me find it first here. Right here. Yes. So let me share this. This would be kind of a word of affirmation. So my friend, she tagged me on this and it says, when you speak out on toxicity, dysfunction, and uncomfortable truths, you will often be ostracized. This could be within the family and work environment. And I don't talk to her very often, but she knows what it is. Here was the words of affirmation. It's not easy to be a truth teller. You won't always win brownie points or friends. Speak up anyway. Positive change can never take place if not for the courage of those who refuse to remain silent. Right? And how is that? She's like, Dion, I know it's hard that you do what you do, and thank you for that. Great words of affirmation. All right. Next one. I have to redo this. There we are. Now it's right. Acts of service. We do this a lot. Acts of service is a good one. People who value. Now everything's all. There we go. It went all. People who value acts of service feel cared for when their partner does something to ease their workload, like making them breakfast or vacuuming. They can feel unimportant if their partner is lazy or breaks promises. An act of service can even just be following through on something you said you would do. I'm personally, I'm big on all of these except one. You know, um, I tried. My wife is an active service and quality time person, right? So there's a lot of times I do things like, you know, my wife's the breadwinner, so during the weekend, I'm like, no, I just want you to relax. I want you to relax. If you get some stuff done here and there, that's great. She's tired or whatever. And what I do is I just take over her chores. That's what I will do. Why did that appear and then go away? Okay. Somebody just checking in, which is a good thing. But yeah, they can feel unimportant if their partner is lazy or breaks promises. So do you see how these also fit with the types of people that we're with? Okay. But the main thing is that we need to understand, if we can understand our own love language, because that's what we need to do first, just like everything else, then we can start to apply these things. And understanding your own love language can also lead to very strong boundaries. Very strong boundaries. Okay. Because you understand yourself a little bit better, and that's always going to increase. The more you know about you, the stronger your boundaries will be, because you'll be like, I appreciate, but you kind of got to be over, yeah. Not only that, but when you're a person that is like that, then you start to attract what you are. And when you have strong boundaries, the people that dump and complain and those things that, or we call them toxic now, I don't even like that word. Okay. They won't even bother you, or they won't bother you a second time. Right. Because when you're like that, you're solution oriented. And I have found that love is almost always the answer. Almost always. Yes. Beatles had it right. They did. Actually, it was Paul McCartney who had it right. One point, John said to Paul, I think everybody's tired of hearing your silly little love songs. And then what came out? Silly love songs. I love it. And I love that. It's my favorite Wings song. Baby, I'm Amazed. Pretty good too. Yeah. It's kind of like Billy Joel, What's your favorite Billy Joel song? Well, the one playing currently, except for his new one. I wasn't really big on that. All right, next one. Receiving gifts. Yeah, it is true, huh, Michelle? They do. Well, people utilize us for one or two things because we're alcoholics, either to determine whether they suck or not, or whether they're catching up. And when you're a person that's like that, there's a lot of times I've been in a room, somebody's come in, looked at me and left. And I'm like, why are you giving me that power? I don't want it. I'm not going to do anything. We're in an AA meeting, and I will treat you exactly like everyone else, like I do everyone else. So anyway, receiving gifts. People who value receiving gifts feel special when they receive a thoughtful gift. They can be hurt by generic gifts or forgotten special events. Like I said, all of these are me. But when it comes to receiving gifts, if you, like, my wife gave this to me. Yay, I don't care. Wasn't really a gift, but like this, when you hand make something for me, I'm all over it. If you write me a handwritten letter, I will keep it, because you took your time to sit down and write out. Hi, Patricia. You sat down and wrote that out. You know why I like this? It wasn't the gift. It was the time put into it. It was the thought It was the act of service and the receiving of gift. I got 2 love languages in one. Right? Yeah. Now, sometimes we also need to understand that other people may not know your love language, and what they do is they supply you with their love language. Be okay with that. Don't tell them how you want. Telling somebody how you want to be loved is not necessarily a boundary as much as it is a demand. Right? And it says thoughtful gift here. They can be hurt by generic gifts and forgotten special events. That was my big one. There was one time, the man that raised me, I don't like to call him dad because he's not, right? And I don't want to say his name because we're here. He's like, hey, Dion, we're going to celebrate your sister-in-law's and your sister's birthday and yours. Do you want to come over? I'm like, yeah, I'll come over. I get there. There's 2 cakes, and neither one of them had my name on it. There were no gifts for me. There were none. I was completely left out. And my dad, I'll just call him dad, just to save confusion, pulls me aside and hands me $100 bill. I was so fucking mad. That $100 did not solve anything for me. Now, if he would have given me a hug and said, I'm sorry, or something else, yeah, I still would have been hurt. But I felt like that was malicious because it was. It was. Especially for my birthday. Because in 5th grade, I invited my whole class and no one showed up. And I don't really celebrate my birthday because of that, right? So, what is that gift for? When it comes to receiving gifts, I always find, what's the intention here? Are you trying to bribe me? Or, so I'm very careful about the receipt or giving gifts. It needs to be personal for me, like this. There we go. This is my favorite coffee cup, right? Now, one day, one of my granddaughters, I have 3, they were walking through the Segundo, which is a thrift store, right? And she goes, Grandma, what does that say? It says Grandpa. He said, oh, I want to get that for Grandpa. She didn't know how to read it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Because she thought of me, and that's all that mattered to me on that. And I will keep that coffee cup until all the words are wore off on it. And it will be my favorite coffee cup. All right. Next one, and this is a big one for my wife, quality time. We do this a lot. Holding space for other people. And you can do this for anyone. I do it all. If you go out, you're going to need to hold space for somebody at some point. Might be a red light. Might be you're waiting to walk through the door, but somebody's in front of you. Right? Maybe you went to Starbucks, and the person in front of you is still getting their creamer, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." They don't need to be sorry, do they? They're not really in your way. They're not inconveniencing you. They were there first, were they not? Don't worry about it. Take your time. I'm not in a rush. Even if you're in a rush, it ain't going to help things. Okay? But if you're in a rush, maybe you shouldn't have stopped by Starbucks. Quality time, just spending time together. When my wife and I were dating when we were younger, I was 17. She was 15 when we first started dating. At first I wasn't out, I was drinking a lot, but then I went into a halfway house for homeless alcoholics. And after a few months, I was able to get out and go out on dates. And we would have no money. We didn't have any fucking money. We had enough for the bus, but we just hung out. She'd go to AA meetings with me. We go for walks in the park. There were a lot of things that we do. Bowling, dollar matinee. Yeah, just spending time. And even now, my wife and I will sit in the same room together doing separate stuff, but we're spending time together. There's particular shows that we watch together, and we sit there and we just bullshit like old people. It's just, spending that time together. Uh, I find that's mostly what my grandchildren want. My grandchildren do not care about how much money I have. No, they just want to spend time with grandpa. They want to see their cousin. They want to see their uncles and aunts. Right? I think quality time is probably one of the better ones. And yeah, of the 5 love language. Did I say hi, Ingrid? If I did not, then I apologize. Hello, pulpit. This one, this is why I say that you do not, this is where boundaries come in a little bit, okay? Physical touch, okay? People who value physical touch may prefer to bypass words and communicate through physical touch. They may feel that verbal expressions don't fully encompass their internal experiences. Physical touch can be intimate and sexual or platonic and tender. All right. Let's just keep this to hugging, okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep this to hugging. Because this isn't in the sense that we're talking about. I'm trying to keep this in the scope of recovery, all right? Because there's a lot of people in AA that don't want to be touched, and it needs to be respected. A lot of times I find people in AA that go for the physical touch. It's usually icky. It usually just kind of feels icky, right? And you have every right. You have every right to say no, right? Now, okay, this is something that I despised when I was a kid. Come on, Dion, give him a hug. Give him a hug. No, the man fucked with me when I was a kid. Now you want me to give him a hug? No. Mm-mm. One of my granddaughters, she doesn't like hugs. She doesn't like them. Okay? So I ask. And she is allowed to say, and I've told her, I told her way back, I said, if the answer is no, the answer is no, and it's okay. And sometimes she'll give in a little bit and say, okay, I'll do a side hug. But if not, this one, bam, or high five or something, something that she is more comfortable with. Okay? Because I kind of feel like everybody deserves their personal space, and it's not for me to intrude. I have a hard time with this one being a love language because my mind's skewed. It's when it comes to intimacy and stuff, it's still jacked up. It's something I'm currently working on. So, I don't mind bringing up hard topics and things like that, but I can't always get to the point. And this one's kind of a tougher one for me. So I have to revert to my own experience, which is, I think that's pushing a line in AA, right? Or in the 12 steps. There's some people that we get up, we hold hands, and they don't want to hold hands. And they shouldn't fucking have to. It doesn't mean that their faith is any less or anything else. Maybe they just don't want to be fucking touched. I know sometimes I don't. Hey, Amber, it's good to see you. Good to see you. You've been here the whole time, though. You've been here the whole time. So I just put out Tradition 12. No, I didn't. I haven't put it out yet, but I'm going to be putting it out here in a little bit. I've kind of covered these, but let's refresh. Let's do a refresher before we wrap up. I may even go to the 3 p.m. meeting. I don't know. Kind of wore out on meetings. But then I say that. I've been to a meeting today. No? Oh, okay. Then it was someone else. Yay! Then we have even more people. There are times when I'm glad I'm wrong. Yeah, see? Yeah, anybody And so yeah, I'm gonna let me re-emphasize this. What I'm talking about here is for recovery and how we can meet other people where they are at with love languages. And I'm gonna take physical touch off the table for that because it doesn't belong. Okay. Now, if there's a comfort zone there thing, two men, I feel a little bit better about. Two women, I feel a little bit better about. But when it's a man and a woman, and we have a couple of people, because I know for me, I did not know how to love appropriately for a long time. Okay. So I've got to watch that. I really do. Because my brain still has this thing where it's like, well, if I have all these friends and I'm somebody, or if I'm dating the prettiest girl, you know. So let's go ahead and reiterate these things, but we're going to leave out the last one this time. All right. So words of affirmation is the first out of the 4 love languages for recovery. Let's change the whole fucking title. Again, this is just encouragement, praise, man. Celebrate that shit. I got 6 months. Yeah. Hey, on Zoom, I see people on Zoom. They're like, or they don't even do that to it. Fucking put your hands up, man. Yeah. Show it. Okay? Because when you encourage them, there's a lot of things that happen. And a lot of it's positive. All of it's positive. Okay? And then the cool thing is then you give them the compliment, right? Or the encouragement or the praise. And this is what happens. They think on it. Wait a minute. Because see, they've never been this person before. So it's going to take a minute for them to fucking believe it. Okay? But whenever you see progress and then you see another person down, let's say something. Because aren't we the hope dealers now? We're hope dealers. Right? Did we listen to Jamie's podcast and how there are people out there, they call themselves hope dealers? You're an actual hope dealer. We go from dope dealing to hope dealing. I had a quarter pound of weed once that I peddled off. That was as far as it went. And I was so paranoid, I never did it again. All right. So words of affirmation. Acts of service. Really, this is probably the biggest one for us, and we do it quite often. Okay. Now, we alcoholics, when it comes to our acts of service, so an act of service means you are not going to get anything in return except maybe some appreciation. You may not even get that, and that's okay. That's what an act of service is. Act of service has so much humility in it that it provides you with these extra dividends. And acts of service means everybody gets to enjoy what happens. Every single person right here, right now, is doing an act of service. Yeah, not just me. If you're here listening, that is an act of service. How is that? You said, Dion is worth my time. And what is that? Well, it's quality time. It's encouragement. So it's also an act of service, right? Receiving gifts. We alcoholics get a lot of gifts, don't we? But they're not always material. Not all gifts are material. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know. I find joy to be a gift. Balance. Yes. Children. Well, it depends on the day. All right. And the last one that we're going to cover anyway is quality time. Now, all of these, right? Words of affirmation, receiving gifts, acts of service, quality time, they're all AA based. These are the things that we do and that we are taught. These are the new set of morals in which we start to do things. But the biggest gift of all is taking your time with somebody else who is suffering and not wanting anything in return. I've found nothing better in this life to show love to someone else, right? And for us alcoholics, it is imperative that we learn how to love correctly, not just learn how to love, which is hard enough in itself, considering we hate ourselves when we get here, right? So now let's kind of take this a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit longer here. What types of those things do you do for you? Right? What do you do for you? Out of these 4 things, do you do for you? What is your love language? And I kind of want to see some of these things up here. You might have multiple ones. I forget that. I should have asked that minutes ago. Right? So you don't really need to, you don't have to do that because who knows how much longer I'll be here. But, the better that we understand, the way that we're going to understand these is if I take a serious look and see which one of these is my own love language. Right? This is my biggest one, acts of service. Because for me, acts of service also comes with receiving gifts, quality time, and words of affirmation. All of those things happen in the acts of service for us alcoholics. So, see how even the 5 love languages are different for us. Okay? We have to smash the idea that we are bodily and mentally different. Well, we have to smash the idea that we're like other people because we're not. Okay? So these things that are out here, because the 5 love languages, the book itself is what we would call a self-help book. Well, that goes against what we do, doesn't it? Yeah. So if I really want to learn the 5 love languages as an alcoholic, then I must put those things into action. Except it was the 4 love languages in this case, right? So don't go running around. I mean, there's a story that Daryl tells about the first time he went into a meeting and there was this big hulk of a guy that made him give him a hug. That was an appropriate place for that. Okay? It was. But we know the difference, don't we? Don't we? So, but yeah, I'm not big on, can I have a hug? No. Unless I love you, then yeah, I'm more than happy to give you a hug. But if I don't really know you, that's hard for me. I'll shake your hand and I'm going to wash my hands because I don't know where your hands have been. That's part of the thing. I'm a germaphobe that way. Not as bad as Howie Mandel, though. All right. Speaking of Howie Mandel, let's go out on an impersonation. I need a drink before I do this one, though, because it's very high pitched. All right. You guys know who Bobby is? Howie Mandel's Bobby. I always do it great when no one's around. And then, anyway, so.
Hi, my name is Bobby. And every time my mommy put me at a party, I cry. So one day, my mommy put me at a party and I cried. And she said, Bobby.
Oh, man.
And I said, what?
I need to quit smoking.
And she said, how come every time I put you in the party, you cry? And I said, it's my party and I'll cry if I want to.
All right. Yeah. I have to practice that once more. It's the smoking in old age. But I used to do a lot of impressions. I think people just find it weird that I have such a low voice and I go, bing. I'll tell you what it is. I grew up in the 70s. And when you grow up on the beach, it's too late, Ingrid. Too late. Too late. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here and allowing me to do that last part with love and patience and tolerance, kindliness. except for the, she's all like, please, no, please don't do that. All right. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Peace out and have a day. Bye-bye.